Today, we discussed 3 vehicles, their specs, and what it takes to make them the ultimate driving machine.
We will also be taking you around the net, talking Uber and its future investments, as well as taking you back to a time when GM had something special called the EV1. But first, what happens next in this video?
Looks like the self-driving Uber is on its first day on the job. But what happens next in this video? A. The self-driving Uber ends up running the red light. B. The self-driving Uber ends up swerving off the road. Or C. The self-driving Uber abides the law and does everything it's supposed to.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the crossover, plugging you into everything that matters. I'm Jesse Valdez alongside with Skyler Trent, as Eric decided to take a vacation and skip this show. But that's okay, because Skyler is an informed man and he's pretty cool. So let's get into this.
Well, thanks for letting me on the show. You know, I've been waiting to be in an episode. I'm glad I can make it in the second shot of the thing.
Second shot of the crossover, which we're still building the show. There's an idea, but it's not there yet. The show will shift into a good show. This show is more keened on cars. Skyler's a big cars fanatic, whether it's building a car or destroying a car, he knows it all. So let's actually go in to what happens next in that video. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that Uber just hit that person while it swerved off the road. That was insane. Because that didn't happen, but it's okay. Basically, all it did was run through a red light. Not a big deal, right? Until it does hit somebody.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Or
another car.
So that's kind of funny that all these cars are going. They all stopped, and then this one just kind of slowly goes by. There's like a person on the side of the road. It probably would have been a funnier video. I'm not saying if we wanted the person to get hit, but it probably would have been funnier if the person was walking the crosswalk, and then all of a sudden this car doesn't even give a crap, and boom, hits him. But yeah, good thing that didn't happen. Nobody was hurt. We're going to talk some Uber now, and we're going to talk their future investments. Uber is coming out, or they have been piloting this driverless car in California.
Kind of like the Google car.
Kind of like, yeah, how it's, I guess it's probably using some GPS thing. But in that video, you saw how it ran the red light. Right. And I guess that was the Uber car on its first day out on the road.
That's not good.
So there's like some tweaks that they need to figure out. And what's crazy is Uber is trying to, they're investing in so much things besides driving. Now you were talking about how they're doing
they're starting to do airplanes now. Being from Utah, I know they were doing a big thing on
for Sundance.
For Sundance, yeah, they were actually offering rides from Salt Lake to Park City and back. Not really sure what happened. I didn't hear much on it. I know the Utah government was trying to fight it. Things like that. Or
do you know who was using them? Was it like just rich people?
As soon as, because Sundance is here in Salt Lake too. So there's some places down in Salt Lake that have it. So I don't know if maybe it's obviously a lot faster to do that than to drive. Although it's about 45 minutes.
I mean, depending on the weather and if because it's up in the mountains. Yeah. We have something called Parley's Canyon, which most cars sometimes can't even make it through. So I guess having a helicopter airlift you over there is kind of a cool thing.
Oh yeah.
But we're talking about Uber, and I don't know if you ever used Uber or not. I guess it's kind of like a taxi service is what it is.
But it's cheaper, and you don't know who you're going to end up with.
So it's cheaper, that's why people want it. And obviously if you don't have a car or you've been out partying, drinking, whatever, you call one of these, they pick you up, and you get home safe. hopefully.
Hopefully.
The thing with the Uber, which is it's kind of scary.
Controversial.
Yeah, and I guess this is the kind of cool thing about having a driverless car, because you don't have to worry about this unless it runs through red lights and you get T-boned and died. But the thing is that they don't really do like a background check, I hear.
No, it's kind of like, I think you just sign up, they send you a sticker, you stick it in your windshield, and you can work any hours you want. So say you want to work, you turn on your app and do whatever you have to do to say that I'm here, kind of like logging on a GPS. And then when people look on their app, it shows where and how close you are or how long it'll take for you to get there. And then say you drop that customer off and you have somewhere to be, you can just turn it off and go about
cool.
your
So yeah,
things.
they're kind of trying to be kind of revolutionary in the way as there's an app and you can figure out where the Uber cars are. But it's scary because you could be getting a pedophile or a rapist or some serial killer, and I guess they're cutting down on. I mean, they're doing a lot better with that, but that's like I guess that's the benefit of a driverless car. You don't have to worry about who's going to be driving you home. So I've never personally used one, but I guess now you know, why not just take an aircraft to work the next day? I don't know, because that's what they're doing. They're like taking it to the next level. Yeah, I think Uber needs to figure out a little more about what their, you know, driverless cars are doing before they start.
In my opinion,
I mean, they got to figure out who their drivers are before they start worrying about all this other stuff.
I think they're trying to move too fast. I think they need to slow down and kind of, you know, take it one step at a time. They need to perfect the street driving cars before they can get into airplanes and helicopters. And
yeah, what if those are driverless too, or, you know, they don't have pilots? Oh yeah, I guess there's not any red lights there, so it doesn't matter.
It's true.
But anyways, since we're on the subject of cars, let's get into something that's more fascinating, more interesting. Let's talk some muscle cars. And I say that because in my opinion, the muscle car is dead. It's been dead. Skyler will fight and say otherwise. We're going to talk 3 specific ones. Skyler is more of a GM Chevy kind of guy, so let's go into the GM side of it first.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to talk about 3 cars. Like he says, I'm a GM fan, so my personal favorite, obviously, is the Camaro. The reason being for that, you know, it's out of the 3, it's not the most expensive, but it's not the cheapest either. It does, however, get the better city and highway miles per gallon. Comes with the modern kind of middle-sized engine between the two. And it makes the I guess not the most horsepower, but not the least either. It puts out 455 horsepower and 455 foot-pounds of torque. So you know, you get the best of both worlds. And the car weighs in just at about 3,800 pounds. So.
Cool. That's awesome. And how much are you paying for this car?
You're looking at probably a 41,000, maybe plus or minus, you know, depending on, you know, what you add on to the vehicle. If you get a convertible, I believe it's around 37,000.
Okay.
So you're paying a lot more for a convertible. So
I don't know about convertibles. I mean, I think those are more of a hassle than just getting. Just bring back the T-tops, man. When you bring back the T-tops, we'll all be fine and dandy.
A Targa top, you know, just take the hard top off.
Oh yeah, kind of like the Corvette.
Yeah, exactly like the Corvette.
Cool.
So.
All right, so there's the Chevy side of it, and we also have the smaller semi-muscle car, the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, we have the 2017 Ford Mustang GT. This is significantly cheaper than the Camaro. It's coming in at about $33,000. It does make less horsepower, about 20 horsepower less, and about 55 foot-pounds of torque less than the Camaro. The miles per gallon is about the same. It's a little worse than the Camaro, but it also weighs a little bit less than the Camaro as well. Yeah. So that's kind of where it makes up.
And I think the Ford Mustang's always been a little less.
It's always been a lighter.
And that's one thing I kind of respected about that, because you're getting a car that has less horsepower, weighs less, and yet it's still competing with these massive boats, you know. And speaking of boats, the Challenger's the next one. It's actually the heaviest one out of the 2.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Challenger, this is a Dodge Challenger SRT8. It makes the most horsepower with 485, but it also weighs about, I'd say 4,000, 5,000, or 500, pounds more than the Camaro. And it is horrible on gas mileage. It's the worst out of the three. Comes with a bigger motor than both of them. And it also costs the most, at almost $50,000.
$50,000. And I don't know, did we mention the Ford price? The Ford price was...
Yeah, the Ford price was about $33,000.
33. So that one's the
Cheapest.
the cheapest out of the two. The Camaro comes into being kind of more of the mid, and then you have the Challenger that is way, almost, what, $20,000 more than...
And the reason I like the Camaro the most, you're kind of getting the middle. You're getting more bang for your buck, in my opinion. You're getting the horsepower. It's not the lightest, but it's not the heaviest, and it gets the best gas, I guess you could say. But who cares when you're in a muscle car?
When you're in a muscle car, why would you
Yeah.
care about the gas? You
Exactly.
know? We don't want eco-friendly here.
So
But so if we're talking about, because to me, muscle car is all about packing as much stupid power, horsepower, everything into this mid-size vehicle and just letting it rip.
yeah,
When it comes to that, the Challenger's the one that has the most raw power, correct?
right.
But you're also paying a lot more for that.
More, yeah. Actually, a significantly amount more. I mean, you're paying $8,000 plus more for it compared to the Camaro, and about say almost double that against the Mustang. So
Mustang, yeah.
it's a significant amount. For
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, like I said, to me, the muscle car is dead. It's been dead since 2002, and you'll fight me on that.
Yeah.
I had an 83 Trans Am, and then I had a 99 Trans Am, which was the Trans Am with the facelift, and it was the Trans Am that brought back the muscle car, and then it died in 2002, along with the Camaro. And this is why I have like this burden on the Camaro, is because a few years later, the Camaro comes back, but the Pontiac doesn't. The Trans Am is left dead. So I kind of have like this thing against the Camaro.
Oh yeah, and, Pontiac it was a whole car company that went under. It wasn't just a significant.
Yeah,
car,
but they went under years and years later. We're talking about when the Camaro came out, Pontiac was still alive and kicking, along with Saturn and was it
Oldsmobile?
Yeah, Oldsmobile. They were all GM has some weird.
They had some weird vehicles, but people were happy with them.
And that's what I never understood either. So you would think, with the Pontiac, you had the GTO, you had the Trans Am, you basically had, I mean, the G8, the G6, all the newer ones. You basically had like this factory of muscle car heaven.
Yeah, Pontiac was big.
And they get rid of Pontiac, but they keep Buick.
Yeah, Buick and Cadillac, which Cadillac now is starting to become, more of the less of the family sedan.
Rich people.
Which they also make two-door, but they're throwing Corvette motors in them and making them monsters.
That's the cool thing about like the muscle cars to begin with. Like both my Trans Ams had the Corvette motors in them. Mm-hmm. My 99 had the LS1,
right.
which that's why you get it. It's because like you get the best of both worlds. You're getting the F body, but it has a Corvette motor in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, I just thought it was kind of weird how Pontiac. GM got rid of Pontiac, but they kept Buick, like for the old people, I guess. I don't know.
Old people.
Anyways, let's keep it on the car thing. We're going to get into more of a controversy here, more of a conspiracy. And let's take you back to the 90s.
Yeah.
We were just wee little lads in the 90s, right? I'm older than him, but... So apparently in the 90s, GM, since we're on the GM thing, GM had a vehicle, an electric vehicle, fully electrical.
Fully electric, 100%.
And they had... And I guess they leased them out in California, and they had charging bays throughout the state. And the car was called the EV1.
EV1, yeah. So this car, kind of how it worked, GM decided, let's make an electric car. They leased this car out.
To a lot of people, yeah.
A lot of people, and I mean, they loved them. I mean, they were getting good feedback from it. It was a good electric car. I think it got somewhere in the 40s.
40 hours?
48 hours or something.
Something like that, And the thing with it is, and this is what's the controversial thing, and there's actually a documentary on it called Who Killed the Electric Car. It's really awesome to watch. But so what happened is these cars were leased out, and I guess people, they were paying like $300, $400 a month to have them, and they were awesome. It lasted a few years. It went into the 2000s. and out of nowhere, GM decided to cut it completely.
Took them all back and smashed them.
Literally took
smashed
them all back and smashed them all in a junkyard and got rid of them as if they never wanted people to ever see them or to know that they existed.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people nowadays never even heard of it. Don't even know what it ever was.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird looking car. It kind of looked like a Saturn a little bit.
Yeah, if I remember, the back wheels were kind of halfway covered like
they were covered like the old
a Cadillac or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty cool. I don't know why they would get rid of it. Like the thing with like as mankind, we want to progress, right? And it's crazy to think that in the 90s, we had something that was so revolutionary, and here we are, over 20 years later.
Just barely bringing it back.
And I don't even know if we're really bringing it back. Like, we have stuff like the Volt and the Nissan Leaf, and but
they're overpriced.
Why the lack? Yeah, and they're overpriced. Like the Teslas and...
the BMW, what is it, the i8, supercars that are trying to be electric now. So it's just, yeah, it's crazy to think that we've kind of gone backwards.
Devolved, yeah.
So, and a lot of people say, electric cars, they're so great, they save our environment, but if you kind of look at the way, what it takes to make electricity, what it takes to make those batteries.
Yeah.
The chemicals in the batteries, things like that.
See, and I take that to an extent because I feel like, yeah, it's gonna take some coal power to make these electric cars, but it's a new beginning to something. You know what I mean? And for GM to get rid of these cars and just be like, oh well, who cares about them? There has to be a better reasoning, and I think there is a better reasoning that they're not telling us. Like I feel like maybe it's about the oil industries, and maybe exactly the oil industries killed this car, and GM is just coming out and saying, because GM's excuse is that this car was basically killed off because it was too much money to manufacture.
Yeah, and they weren't making their money off of it.
And that's what they say, and I don't know. There's a lot of them that they made to begin with, so I don't know.
And it could be. You see, if they released them out for only $300 a month, and you go buy a new one, and you see how much they cost, upwards of $45,000.
Yeah.
So they could have been expensive.
I feel like, these guys even had charging bays. They they had this thing all
like they were
thought out. They were all thought. It was thought out. Like they were 100% in on this, and then out of nowhere they just cut it.
Yeah. That
just seems very skeptical.
Yeah. It is, and if I remember too from that video, there's like 2 in existence, I believe.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2, and I don't know if it was Jay Leno or I don't know who it was, but as far as I know we don't know if it runs or not. We don't know if it's just a shell of a car. I think one was Jay Leno. I don't know. It was something like that, and one was just donated to a museum.
Yeah, I think one was definitely in a museum, if I remember. That's the one I remember.
That's the one.
It was in a museum, and I'm
it's
not
1
sure
or 2.
where,
But that's the thing, like, they could just be shells.
Yeah.
GM could have gutted it, and it's just a
possibility, or yeah. That's
so.
a possibility. So.
Anyways, you guys should check out that documentary. Again, it's called Who Killed the Electric Car? And like I said, is it controversial? Is it a conspiracy that maybe GM decided to get rid of it because of the fact of what they're making with the oil industries? I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
Right, so... Anyways, I think it's about time to wrap up episode 2 of the crossover.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me in. I hope I see you guys around. I really enjoy being on the show, and I like to talk more about cars and stuff. So, thanks for letting me in, Jesse.
No problem, man. Go ahead and give us some links for the guests to follow.
Yeah. So if you guys would like, you can follow us on Facebook at Media Crossover and Twitter at Media Crossover _ Media underscore crossover. Excuse me. As well as follow us on Facebook. Whatever you follow us, you can see it first. All our videos are live usually, so
yeah, so awesome, yeah. And make sure to catch the show live on our Facebook page every Tuesday, as the crossover will air live at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. We will most likely have our MCE block of programming airing throughout the day, leading up to the show, but this show will air at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. So,
until then, I'm Skyler Trent.
And I'm Jesse Valdez, plugging you into everything that matters. Thank you for watching.